Welcome or welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? I don't know. Probably never. However, what I do know is that this beautifully bright 80s-esque look has been produced with this ABH palette. It's the Riviera. So, if you want to find out exactly what my feelings are towards this, and how easy or difficult it was to use some of the pressed pigments from this palette, then my friend, you are in exactly the right place. Here it comes. Hey, welcome back from the intro. I'm going to have shown you this in the intro. I am super excited by this. I know I said I wasn't going to buy any more colourful palettes because I've got my Slush palette, I've got a couple of Juvia's Place palettes, I've got some certified palettes, and that was enough. However, okay, let's take the little brush out. Now, how does this brush feel? Actually, not that bad. Not as soft as my Royal and Langnickel. Feels a bit like a Real Techniques kind of level. I'm not overly keen on double-ended brushes though. I mean, they're okay for travelling, and to be honest, that's what I tend to keep them for. But in every day-to-day life, I don't. I prefer, unless of course it's a brow brush with a spoolie on the other end. Right, let's address the elephant in the room, and I'm not talking about the size of my butt right now. I'm talking about the quality of my wonderful ASMR voice, which is beginning to sound a little bit like Bonnie Tyler. Oh, by the way, I have got a top on. I know it looks like I haven't. You know how mother-in-law gave me a cold at the beginning of January, and then I got rid of it, and my brother-in-law gave me a cold at the end of January, and I got rid of it. Well, it's now nearly the middle of March, and my husband has decided to give me third cold of the year. Right, I'm really hoping that's it for me now for colds this year. I've had enough. 3 in the first 3 months of the year. Just no. Right, this is actually the first Anastasia palette that I bought since Modern Renaissance, because it turns out the Prism palette I've got could be a fake, which annoys me because I bought it from a reselling site because I didn't have the money when it first came out to get it. So that's really, really annoying. I wish people wouldn't do that. I really do. It's just not on, because she was pretty much selling it for full-on price as well. So, yeah, not a happy bunny. But this actually came with a separate little insert. The back of the palette has got this sticker on, which at the moment mine's staying stuck. I know a lot of people have had issues with theirs peeling up, but at the moment mine feels okay. And although this is not the fuzzy material, it feels more like canvas or deck chair, it has already got a smut on the front of it, look, on the white bits from when I swatched it. I pride myself on even my oldest palettes looking like they're brand new because I keep them so clean. I get the feeling that this little bugger is going to really frustrate me. The back of this says eyeshadows and pressed pigments. And let's get rid of that little. Don't like those. I only hang on to those if there's like a. I've kept hold of it in my Smoke Sessions one because those came broken and I had to repress them, but thankfully this arrived all in one piece. But Bahamas, Palm and Cannes, warning, not intended for use around the immediate eye area. In other words, those are the 3 pressed pigments. And you've guessed it, Bahamas, try and get it so it's not dazzling you, Palm and Cannes. 2 of my most favourite shades are the pressed pigments. Now you'll know I'm going to be going in with those. Right. I have done swatches and I will put that up on the screen when I'm zooming you in. But a little bit of housekeeping. My films are aimed at all skill levels, from people who've never picked up a brush before to people who are experts. Okay, so I take you through every single step. I do real-time blending on both eyes. Now I understand that if you're an expert, that's probably going to be too slow for you, and because of my chronic pain, my blending is probably going to be too slow for you. So, providing you're not streaming me through a TV, there's a widget either up there or down there where you can change the speed. By all means, change the speed. There's a possibility I will end up sounding like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Theodore's my favourite. But there you go. Now, my face has been washed, moisturised, SPF'd and primed, and because my skin is feeling a tad thirsty, I've got oily combo skin, but I have every type of skin. It's reminded me to take some tablets, which I did before I sat down and pressed record and forgot to turn that off. I have every type of skin on my face, and the dry bits go really, really dry. So as well as my usual moisturiser that I've been using, which is this L'Oreal Age Perfect Celery Noon Rosy Cream. Love the smell of this, by the way. As well as that, and the, oh god, what's it called? Niacinamide and Zinc from Revolution. I have put a bit of this Revolution Pro Prime and Hydrate base on. I'm guessing this is their version of the Smashbox Primerizer. And then, obviously, the last thing I put on my face was this, which was my antiperspirant primer. If you want more details about this, there is a link to a mini film in my description box for you. Right. I am going to zoom you in. I'm going to be very up close and personal. But while I'm zooming in, swatches. So, all of the bottom row are mattes, the top row, apart from the very first shade, are shimmers. So, we have got on the top row, left to right, Sails, Yacht, Seychelles, Palermo, Seaside, Inheritance, Mediterranean. Seaside and Mediterranean were very, very chunky when I swatched them, so I wouldn't advise putting those on dry. I think they're going to have to go on wet. And then the bottom row is Estate, if you can even see that because it's so close to my skin tone. Cabana, Coastline, Bahamas, Monte Carlo, Cannes and Palm. And obviously, as I said, Bahamas the pink, Cannes the purple and Palm the brown are all pressed pigments. Hello, I'm back again. Right, my eyes have got Revolution Conceal and Define 0.5 on, which I have blended out and I have set. The brushes I am going in with today, I normally give you instructions on how to follow my tutorial if you have hooded lids. However, the way that I'm doing my tutorial today, if you've got hooded lids, it's going to be easy for you to follow anyway. All you're going to need to do is, when I go in and add my first colour here, just do yours a little bit further up so that you create yourself a mobile lid. Okay, now I've got deep set eyes, and just to show you what I mean by that, so I do understand the problems that people with hooded eyes have. When you look at my eyes, you can see all of my mobile lid inner corner to outer corner, so I haven't got hooded eyes. What I do have is deep set eyes. If I cover up my mobile lid this side and then close my eye, you can see I've got as much mobile lid again that tucks back in. So I do understand the issues of colours transferring up, and when you do a cut crease you can't just cut it across your physical eyeball. Enough wittering, I want to put some colour on. Now the brushes that I'm using, these are in my Which Brushes Do I Recommend film, which if I remember I will link. I linked these Ranimore brushes, which I got from eBay, and they were about £2.60 something when I bought them for a set of 12. And I'm going to be going in with initially contour brush 9, although how the heck that can be a contour brush I do not know. And then I'm probably going to be using eye crease 8, I think that's 8, yeah, eye crease 8. Right, let's get started. Let's get it started here. Okay. So, you know me, I'm going to go straight for that purple. It's happening, folks. So, I'm just going to dip in. Picks up nicely on the brush, and there is, as usual, the Anastasia shades are quite soft, so there is some kick up in the pan. I've got my colour switch for changing colours on my brush and for tapping off into, and I have finally got a new sponge for it, so I don't have to use my clean washcloth for changing colours, although if you don't have a colour switch you can use that. Right, so I'm going to start off just by gently, wow, okay, that's definitely got some pigment to it, because I barely touched that in the pan. I'm just going to pop this just above my mobile lid. I will be building this up, I'm just getting the shape right at the moment. Okay. As you can see, that looks like it's just above my mobile lid, but as you can see, my mobile lid finishes there, so it does continue up a little bit. So I'm just going to, even though I have set the base, because these are a pressed pigment, I'm just going to tap them in to build the colour up, rather than swirl to blend, because pressed pigments do tend to perform best when they're tapped on. So we will continue to do so and build up this halo eye that I'm starting to create. I'm going to try just a little bit of circular buffing just to see how it reacts to it, because a lot of pressed pigments, when you do this, they'll just disappear and you'll lose all the colour completely, but this one seems to be coping quite well with a little bit of buffing, so that's a good sign. That's really going on without any problem at all, and purples, blues and greens are the most difficult colours to create, so the fact this is going on so nicely I'm extremely happy about, but then I'm not surprised because Anastasia very rarely release shadows that I don't like. Obviously I didn't actually get Subculture to try, but that was mainly a pressed pigment palette I think, and that was the thing that most people are struggling with. As you can see, I'm just going to bring this down into a nice sort of, just a gentle curve, not too sharp an angle here. And again, just very gentle buffing of that shade, just to soften the edge slightly. I'm sorry, my throat is really starting to bug me, so. And I'm going to bring this down into the inner corner as well. Problem is, I'm blind in this eye, so I can't really close this eye to actually see what I'm doing. So I'm kind of looking down into my mirror and then checking that I'm still actually in view. So please forgive me if I disappear out of view just momentarily. Do you know what? For a pressed pigment, this is actually reacting really nicely. Majority of pressed pigments, as I said, when you start to do this to them, they do just dissipate. But this is holding its colour nicely. So I'm just going to build this corner up here. Now, regular viewers will know that I struggle here and here to get pigments to lay down, simply because I've got a lot of creasing and texture on my eyelids just there. But as you can see, that has actually laid down over it actually remarkably well. I'm actually really surprised at that. Yeah, I really am shocked at that, to be honest. So, relaxing the brows just to make sure I've got, yeah, I've still got enough purple showing, so that's good. And again, I'm just very gently softening that edge, just to create the blown out shape. I'm going to put another colour on top, don't panic. You all know me, I like my colour. So, and now to do the same on this eye and try and get the shape the same, which, yeah, it's a little hit and miss because obviously my eyes are two different shapes. Now this eye, you can see I've got really deep creasing here. That's from where it was pulled around an awful lot when I was, you know, sort of 5-6 years old. So, you know, 40 years ago, nearly. So be very, very gentle with the skin on your eyelids, folks. It is the thinnest skin on your body. And once you get deep creasing like that, I can assure you it's only going to get worse. So just building the colour up on this eye, trying to get the shape about the same. I think this needs to come up a little bit on the outer corner. Yeah, that looks better. How's your day been so far? I do hope it's been a good one, or if I'm easing you into the start of your day, as I do with Christopher J. MUA. Now, this eye I do have to pull out slightly because you can see I've got all of this deep creasing here. So, I'm just going to very, very carefully. Okay, the reason that's changing colour there is because my eye has been weeping, so that's what happens when it gets wet. I'm trusting that when it dries out, it's going to go back to the original shade. But that does show you that it is definitely a blue-based purple, not a red-based one. So I'm just going to, I think I need to bring that colour across just a tad more to about there. That is really frustrating, but unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it with my eyes. One of the symptoms of fibro is that you do have very, very watery eyes. It's almost like having hay fever all year round, which is really frustrating. So, again, I'm just going to build the colour up this side. Yeah, as I was saying, Christopher J. MUA tends to put me on in the morning when he's getting ready because he finds my calming voice and my soothing style a good way to ease himself into his morning. So, morning, Christopher. Hope you're having a good day. And I hope you're not too perturbed by my slightly huskier voice this morning. So again, just going to build this colour up. And build the shape up so that it matches the other eye. Looking good so far. I really am impressed with how this purple is behaving, actually. I was not expecting it to be quite so well behaved, shall we say. Right, so I'm just going to take the purple off of, or as much of the purple off as possible. It has stained the brush a tad, but that will come out when you clean your brush, it's not a problem. Right, I'm now going to go into Bahamas, which is the pink, which is, yes, another one of the pressed pigments. Again, that picks up really, wow, that really picks up well on the brush. I'll tap that off quite a bit, I think. There we go. And again, a reasonable amount of kick up in pan. I don't know if you can see that. Kick up in pan doesn't worry me because I'll just go back in again next time and just pick up the kick up. Oh, I'm rhyming couplets at you this morning, isn't that lovely? Oh, that's really annoying. Why did my eye have to do that this morning? Right, I'm going to slightly overlap this pink with the purple and just tap it on. So it slightly overlaps, and then I'm going to sort of tap, 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 and then a little bit of circular blending. The reason I do circular blending is because it very gently moves the skin on your eye around. So it helps to stop you getting those sort of telltale white stripes. Unfortunately, because the creasing's so deep this side, that doesn't work on that eye. Do not pull your eye out like I did unless, you know, this circular movement doesn't work for you. Again, for a pressed pigment, this is actually really behaving well. I'm quite surprised. I wasn't expecting it to. I really wasn't expecting it to behave as well as this. I was fully expecting that, you know, when I did the blending, I thought I was going to have to go in with this more loosely packed brush so that I didn't disturb the pigment as much, but I'm actually able to blend with this more densely packed brush, and it's not actually dissipating the pigment at all. Now, I like to leave a bit of, normally about 4 or 5 mils between the lowest part of my brow and the colour, but obviously I've taken it a little bit higher today simply because I'm really excited about the colours and I've got a lot of lid space to play with, so why not? I mean, you can see, even now, normally with a pressed pigment, when I'm doing this, not only would I be losing the pink, but this purple underneath would be fading. And it's not. It's just blending really, really nicely into the pink. You're not losing any of the brightness of that purple. Maybe just a little bit here, but that's really surprising to me. I'm Norvina, you done went there, girl. The only thing I would say is, instead of the brown, I wish they'd put a navy blue, because obviously the packaging is white and navy blue. And I know a lot of people want a brown in their palette because, you know, they think you have to use brown as a transition shade and a deepening shade and stuff, but I really would have liked to have seen a navy blue in this palette somewhere. But that being said, it's a colourful palette from Anastasia, which I'm very happy about. I was really, really, really excited when I saw the outside of the Norvina palette, thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be full of purples and lilacs and lavenders, and then it wasn't. And that really disappointed me. So I've got to be honest, when I heard they were coming out with a colourful palette, I was thinking, yeah, it's going to be 3/4 modern renaissance again, or soft glam, and then we're going to have 1 or 2 pops of colour. But no, you know, Anastasia done gone there this time. And again, you can see with this side, it's building up nicely, it's blending well, it's not blending away, it's not going patchy, which can be a problem with pressed pigments because the pressed pigment has the reason the FDA say you shouldn't use it around the eye is because it can stain the eye, because it's got a much higher concentration of colour pigment in it. And because of that, because it hasn't got sort of the packer stuff like your talc, like your mica, like your dimethicone, it tends not to blend as well as eyeshadows. That's why I'm sounding so surprised that this is actually blending. So, I mean, this is blending like a shadow rather than a pressed pigment. So I don't know what kind of witchcraft they've got going on in the Anastasia lab, but girl, I want to come play. I want to come and cultivate my own palette. Wouldn't that be cool if they'd sort of have like a 14-pan empty palette like Sugar Pill does, and you could just pick your own shades from, you know, existing Anastasia palettes? That would be awesome. As you can see, I'm definitely going to have to go in and clean this brush properly. Now, without anything on, actually, shall I? I think I'm going to pick up a little bit of Monte Carlo on this eye crease brush 8, and again just tap off, and just to show you that also has some softness to it. And I'm just going to do tiny, tiny blending motions just on this top corner here, just to add a little pop of coral to that pink. This is such a pretty colour. There are so many eye shades, eye looks that I want to do with this palette. That's why I got it. It's like if I look at a palette and instantly can see at least sort of 3 to 5 eye looks that I want to create, I'm buying that palette. Unfortunately, the day that I got paid, it came to Beauty Bay. So I ordered it and paid for next day delivery. And then my Hermes didn't deliver it until gone 2 in the afternoon on a day when it was raining. So I just didn't have the light to be able to film with it. They also just left it on the doorstep. Didn't even knock the door, because I was in the front room waiting. I hadn't even gone for a pee because I was waiting desperately for the palette to arrive. And I heard the letterbox go, and I thought, oh, it must be the post, I'll go and have a look. And it was a sorry we missed you thing from my Hermes, and I'm like, what do you mean missed me? You didn't even try. I got a bloody great door knocker. It's a big black door knocker on a white door. You can't bloody miss it. Anyway, enough of my trials and tribulations. The reason I was saying I didn't have the light to film is because I've got mainly daylight here, and then I've just got two LED strip lights behind the camera. So, and I like to film using daylight as much as possible so that you get a true indication of the colours, particularly when it's something like this, because if I was filming this under all artificial light, it would be quite difficult to see this coral is a different shade to the pink. Oh, that's just so pretty. Oh, this palette is beautiful. Right. I am now going to do a cut crease or halo eye. I'm going to go in with this L'Oreal Infallible More Than Concealer in shade Porcelain. And let me just close the palette for a minute. Now, I like to use brushes like, oh, no, that's not wide enough. These are actually acrylic nail art brushes. This is number 12, which I believe is probably 12mm, although that does look more like about 8, but never mind. And because these come, you know, you can squeeze the bristles together, and you can see they come down so very, very sharp and thin. It's ideal for doing a cut crease. You know what, I've not got a huge amount of fallout there either. This here is where my eye's been watering, that's why it's changed that colour there, which is really annoying. Right, now the way that I do mine is I pop some concealer on the brush. I decide how wide I want it, and start to do the side like that, and then sort of, now most people, if you haven't got hooded or deep set eyes, can just follow your eyelid, so your cut crease or your halo eye will look that sort of shape. Now what I do is I open my eyes and blink a few times, and it shows me just how high I actually need to go with my cut crease, and that will work for you if you have hooded eyes. And I just very carefully sorry, it's because I'm looking in my mirror again down here. Just create the halo eye shape that I want. And then just very lightly, just gently pat over the whole area, and then turn the brush over to the side that hasn't got any concealer on it, and again just pat over the whole area, and that will pick up any excess. Okay. I do tend to clean this off on a washcloth between the two eyes though, just to make sure that it's, I sort of clean it off and then re-flatten the brush. See? And it just, this to me is the absolute easiest way to do either a cut crease or a halo eye. So you close your eye, put it on your lid, which, as I said, if you've got normal eyes, i.e. not deep set and not hooded, that will be your halo eye. But I need to open my eyes and blink a couple of times. And if you don't get a very particularly good impression, just pop a bit of extra there. Okay, and then it shows you exactly how high up you need to go with it. Always start off with less. It's much easier to add more than it is to try and take it away if you go too high, particularly with all the blending that we've just done. We don't want to undo all of our hard work by going too high with the blending. Alright, so I'm just going to gently pat the whole area. And then turn the brush over to the clean side and repeat, just to take off any excess that would then mix with the shadows that we're going to apply. See? And that, my friends, is the easiest way to do either a halo or a cut crease. See? Whenever I use creams on any brush, I always clean them off before I put them back down again, because then at the end of the week, when it's time to clean all your brushes, it's so much easier. It really is. Okie dokie. And now I am going to grab this medium shader brush, number 2 from the Ranimore set again. And now I'm going to apply these shimmers wet. Do not go into a pressed shimmer with a wet brush. You will get hard pan, you will find it very, very difficult to then pick up any other shadows. Now I'm going to use this to wet my brush with, which is nearly empty. This is the Obsession Pigment Boost. You can use anything. You can use a priming spray, you can use a moisturising spray like Mario Badescu or Fix Plus, you can use a setting spray, you can even use water from the tap, as long as it's clean. Alright, so going in with a dry brush. Oh Lord, the choice now is the problem. I think I'm going to go into Mediterranean. These they feel almost spongy, they're that soft. Okay. Then I'm going to wet the brush. I'm going to wipe the ferrule dry so that you don't get any moisture going down and loosening the glue holding the bristles. And I'm going to pop just a little bit of this, just by pressing it very gently on the outer edge of the concealer. Just drying it off on the brush. I'm actually going to try it dry. See how that goes on. Do you know what? That applies just as well dry as it does wet. So apparently you don't need to wet these at all. So I'll put the pigment spray away. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. This is such a pretty pigment, but it is very, very soft and really quite crumbly as well. So I would advise you to, you can see I've got a bit of fallout coming down from this, so I would advise you to do your eyes first, or have plenty of loose powder down there to catch any fallout. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing on this eye. Now obviously I've not set the concealer, so the concealer is ever so slightly sticky as you put this on. So it is hopefully going to hold on to that even without me needing to wet it. This is such a pretty kind of, it's like a bluey silver taupey-ish, even with a hint of maybe lilac in there as well. I might have to actually stretch this out a little bit just to counteract the creasing on my lid this side. Because one of the problems that I do get is that the shimmers kind of skim over the top of the deep creasing, and then I'll get fallout during the day. So I do actually have to, annoyingly, pull this eye around a bit. But you can see that shimmer's gone on really nicely actually. Yes, I've gone back to using my washcloth for taking this off because they're just so soft. And now I'm going to go into Seychelles, which is such a beautiful blue. Look at that. It matches my top actually, look. There's a coinky dink then. I'm just going to press this into the middle. Yeah, you don't need to apply these wet, they do definitely apply just as well dry, but you do get a bit of fallout when you use them dry, which is understandable really. Oh, that's so pretty. I know I shouldn't keep saying that because I've done it myself, but these colours are just beautiful. Expect to see this palette quite a bit on my channel, folks, because there are so many looks that I want to do with it. Okay, that's really bugging me now because this is such a pretty look. Ooh. I've definitely gone very 80s, haven't I? Electric blue, pink, purple. I'm sorry, those are just the colours that called to me, what can I say? And as I said, blues and purples are the most difficult colours to do, so I usually do gravitate towards those first when I'm trying a palette. Right, I am going to pause you while I do my foundation and whatnot. I might see if I can do anything about that. But we'll see when I come back whether I've achieved it or not. Right, I'll see you in a bit. You're going to see me instantly. Okay, I'm back. I had a bit of a play, but I don't think it made any difference at all because after I sorted it out, my eyes started watering again. So we're just going to have to pretend that that's not happening. Right, I'm going to go in with this flat brush, and I think I'm going to pick up let's pick up some Monte Carlo, which is that corally shade we used up here, and I'm just going to pop that right up underneath the lower lash line. And do the same this side. Yes, I'm flinching. I don't have any peripheral vision where I'm blind in this eye, so I'm kind of relying on my monitor, sort of, or the viewfinder on my camera, and muscle memory to not actually poke myself in the eye. And regular viewers will know I'm not always successful at that. Okay. And then I have another flat topped brush like this, but it's a bit chunkier, as you can see. And I'm going to dip into Coastline, I think, which is, wow, okay, that's got some kick up. This is the sort of the peachy one on the bottom, as you can see. And I'm just going to gently buff that along the lower lash line, just to soften the colour that we put down initially. I can feel this eye starting to water again, for goodness sake. Yeah, look, it's got this side now as well. Ah, dear. Alright, that's not the palette's fault, that's my eyeball's fault. Now, I don't normally put a matte as my brow bone highlight. But let's try this Sails and just see what it's like. I tapped off, I barely picked any up, and I tapped off really well, as you can see. Just to actually, that's not bad. I'm not used to seeing myself with a matte highlight at the tail of my brow, but it is super bright. I do like it. It does just give the illusion of your brows being just that little bit higher up. Now I'm going to pick up Inheritance. Whoa, look at that. And I'm going to pop this. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful on my inner corner, and just bring it along to meet the under eye. Oh, look at that. This actually reminds me of one of the highlighters from Jeffrey's 24 Carat palette, which I use as an inner corner highlight a lot. This is just, I just want to keep putting more and more on. Is that bad, or is that like just... Okay, I really like that. Right, I'm going to pause you one more time while I do mascara and mascara and lippy, and I will be back with my final first impressions on the Riviera Kid. Name the show. I'm back. Now, as you can see, I went for bright, so I thought I'd make the lips a little bit more neutral. This is the Revolution Renaissance Lippy in shade Greatest. If you're wondering, I've gone through about 4 of these so far because I love that colour. The bronzer is Butter Bronzer in Bronze. Blush is the MUA Blushed in Rose Tea. Highlight is Jeffrey's Sarcophagus. Eyeliner is Wet n Wild H2O Proof. And mascara is my absolute favourite at the moment, Catrice Glamandol Volume Waterproof. This is a dupe for Benefit Bag Gal Bang, but it's waterproof and about a third of the price. Awesome. Just making sure there's no lippy on my teeth, because last time I wore this I did and didn't spot it till editing, which was annoying. And my chair's squeaky, which is also annoying. What is not annoying though is this palette. I knew there were pressed pigments in it, and I knew that me being me would go straight for those pressed pigments to find out exactly how well they behaved. As it happens, they also happen to be my favourite colours, so that was fortuitous. I was genuinely amazed at how well they actually blend. As I was saying, most pressed pigments, you pack them on, and the minute you start to blend them, they blend away. These didn't. These blended like an ordinary shadow would do, but you had the extra depth of colour that you get with a pressed pigment. Now obviously I've only used what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you count this, 6 if you count that, of these so far. You can bet your sweet life I'm going to be using this a lot, and I mean a lot, because I'm intrigued. I want to see whether all the looks I've envisioned actually turn out as good as I think they're going to. So, do I think you need this? Of course you don't need makeup. Do I think you're going to want it? Oh yes. I'm so glad that I picked this up. I'm going to be having a lot of fun playing with this over the next few days. I really like it. I know it's only a first impression, and obviously I have no idea how long these are going to wear, but if they're anything like the Modern Renaissance formula, then I'm going to be happy girly at the end of the day. So, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could hit that like button for me, comment, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, don't forget to ring my bell, and choose all notifications so that you get told every time that I upload another one of these films. And talking of another one of these films, I've got an awful lot for you to choose from. Why don't you pop over and see if there's any recent ones that you've missed? Or, if you're new, pick a playlist, grab a drink, grab a snack, put your feet up and just indulge. Once you finish doing that, it'd be awesome if you could check out my beautiful sisters in the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group. Their channels are, as ever, listed in the description box below. Right, my voice is just about to give out on me now, so I think it's time I went and had a hot drink, because I can feel my nose starting to bung up, and that's not good. So, all that remains for me to say, as ever, is you'll stay fabulous, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.